It's rough being disappointed by the second season of a series you really liked. It's even rougher when it takes 9 whole years for that second season to come out, multiplying the disappointment by untold factors. If you're a fan of The Devil is a Part-Timer, then that is precisely the situation you found yourself in this year, with a season 2 so profoundly mediocre, borderline broken at times that we're all left wondering what the hell happened. The janky animation was what seemed to catch most people's eyes at first, but it wasn't until I sat down and watched it myself that I saw what was really going on. The jank is still very much there, perhaps not quite with the same frequency that Twitter would have you believe, but it is definitely there, and is a very obvious sign of something going horribly wrong in the production pipeline. What I saw alongside that jank, however, was something much more troubling. To put it frankly, this new season is not only produced in the most basic, uninteresting way possible, but it is also fundamentally broken on a multitude of core levels. Take the character designs, for example. In the first season, the character designs, while not wholly unique or explosively cool, still had a sense of impact to them. They're angular in all the right places and more relaxed in others, crafting something that works well with the overall tone of the series. Compare that with the redesigns for the new season, which have been rounded out beyond all reason and lack any sense of impact or visual personality whatsoever. It's not just a massive downgrade from Season 1, it's a horrible design decision in general that inevitably leads to bad animation because there's no focus to anything. No sense that any aspect of these designs had any intentionality behind them other than maybe being easier to draw, which apparently isn't even the case in practice. This lack of focus in art direction extends to all aspects of the presentation, especially in the framing. Aside from the usual mediocrity of just throwing in a bunch of medium panning shots one after another, there are also a bunch of shots and sequences that are just really poorly constructed. Whether it's because the placement of the characters creates too much negative space in the wrong areas, or because the compositing between the character models and the background art is so subpar, it exudes an air of what I can only describe as mild incompetence, which is unfortunately not very surprising when you look at the people who made this show and how much experience they have. Even the action directing, which wasn't particularly stellar even in the first season, has become totally flaccid and lacking in any punch whatsoever. Beyond the visual side of this production, the script is also presented in the blandest, most unappealing manner possible. Almost none of the jokes land because they don't really get any setup and the timing is practically non-existent, and half the dialogue is spat out so fast with so little variation in delivery that it all blurs into white noise that you end up forgetting about immediately after it's spoken. No sense for pacing, or build-up, or emotional weight, or literally anything that could make it sound like an actual human was saying these things, just wrote mechanical line delivery like they're working on a goddamn assembly line, with no care at all as to how it actually sounds or feels. It gets so bad that even my dumb American ears can pick out the moments of just straight up bad voice acting, with this grandma character in particular being an extreme source of auditory annoyance, most likely due to mishandled voice direction. I feel like I still have the urge to say more, but I'm struggling to even say anything interesting about why this season is bad, because the reasons simply aren't interesting. It all stems from a trend towards genericism, and what I can only speculate was a hellish production schedule sorely lacking in the time and staff needed to properly produce it. Just like dozens of other anime I've seen this year, which is such a huge letdown because even through all of these horrible decisions, I can still see that the actual story is something I would be really interested in. The main plot events are still fascinating in their own right, and despite everything, I'm still curious as to where this story will go, even if I don't like every part of it. But because not enough care is paid towards how those events are presented, it ends up killing whatever interest I might have. It's a production so unbearably mediocre that I can't even tackle the parts of the story that might be at fault from the source material, because I don't even know how much better they would be with a stronger production to present them. What's the point in even bringing it up when there's clearly not enough being put into the most fundamental aspects of creating an anime? Where did it all go wrong? Where's all the stuff that made the original so interesting? Did it all just drain away after all this time? Has complacency completely taken over and driven out all ambition and former passion? What happened to this Demon King? Where did you go? What happened to you? Special thanks to Rourke Tenjoin, Chris Thompsons, Ryan Johnson, and all my other patrons for their generous support. My name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.